Hello everybody and welcome to another video, and today we're going to be looking at a band I am familiar with, a band called Korpiklaani. Now, I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with this band, but anyway, for those who aren't, I did a little bit of research as is my norm. And we've got Korpiklaani, which means backwards clan in Finnish, is a folk metal band from Finland, who was formerly known as Shamani Duo and then later Shaman. While other folk metal bands sort of began with metal and then added elements of folk music into their style, for Korpiklaani it went the other way around. They started off as a folk metal band, gradually turning to metal. The roots of Korpiklaani can be traced back to a Sami folk metal group under the name Shamani Duo, an in-house restaurant band created by Jonne Järvelä. I apologise if I pronounced that horribly wrong, and that was created in 1993. They released an album of folk music called Hunka Lunka, and it was released under the name of Shamani Duo before Järvelä relocated and Shamani Duo turned into the band Shaman in 1997. Now, since then, the band underwent another evolution in around 2003, and Shaman became Korpiklaani, with only Järvelä and the drummer Samu Ruotsalainen remaining from the lineup of Shaman. The music style then sort of evolved into the more folk metal, folk thrash vocal style instead of what they were doing before. They had already sort of touched on the sound of what would become Korpiklaani in their earlier style. There was a song called Vola Lavala. I pronounced that horribly wrong, I'm sure, and that in itself actually has the same music as the Korpiklaani song Beer Beer. Now, as I said, I am familiar with Korpiklaani. I think I've got a couple of their albums. I've heard them before. Now, a lot of people know them as a fairly silly band, mostly thinking about alcohol and stuff like that, but they do have some more serious songs, and I do believe that the track I'm looking at today, a track called Lempo, is a more serious track of theirs. Now, I did search for the lyrics. The whole song is sung in Finnish, but I have got a translation, but I'm not sure how good the translation actually will be. But every translation I've found has been pretty much the same, so we'll just have to work with what we've got. So, yes, I've been waffling on for 3 minutes. Let's jump into it. So it's Lempo by Korpiklaani. Let's have a look. pause that there for a second. Now, I like what they've done with this track. They've actually put an explanation at the beginning and just then before I pause the song about what the song itself is about. So that helps me just that little bit. They're talking about Lempo, who's a fire goddess of fertility, and the song itself is basically prayers that are offered to them, to Lempo, to to help with their fertility, help with their love life. So that's essentially what the song is about. It's great that they've actually given that little insight. As I said, I'm not sure about the translation I've got here. Some of it sounds a little bit off, but we'll make do with what we've got. The song came in, said, "Daughters make the fire behind the house that father gave them. There's my passed away family making love under the life. Lempo, my soft fire, the spirit of lust more sweeter. Where's my steady happiness, the burning flame of love?" So you can kind of make out from that first verse there what they're sort of talking about. There's a couple of lines there. It says, "There's my passed away family making love under the life." So I'm guessing he's saying, that's where my ancestors are buried, possibly, making love under the life. So whilst they're underground, their spirits are still entwined in love and possibly romance. I'm not sure. Carries on, "Everything has gone good for me, the fiery lady from fire. Behind my coppery light I shall cast a spell for my love. Come joy, Lempo's love, from the silver veil of fire. I give my joy for my lady, I cast my wishes from fire." So, it's very bluntly, if you actually know the meaning, it's very bluntly stating, we are praying to the goddess Lempo to bless us with romance, fertility, to make a strong family, etc. That sort of thing. So yeah, it's a very catchy and very bouncy song as well. It's got a little bit of what sounds like throat singing in the background as well, which is quite an interesting element as well. So, like I said, I've heard of Korpiklaani before, but like I said, a lot of their songs are like silly and talking about drink and stuff like that. This is a more serious one. It's got a more serious feel to it as well than some of their other tracks. So quite interesting so far. Let's carry on.
Lempo soikoon korkealle, taivaan kannen kantapäille. Sydän soi syvällä tupaa, halut neidosta näkyvät. Puljekia punaista,
Well, there we go. Lempo by Korpiklaani. There's not really much more I can say about the actual song itself. They covered pretty much all the bases with their little explanations throughout the track. So it's basically just offering prayers to Lempo to help their love life, procreation, etc. throughout life. So it's a good meaning. It's actually got some basis in like folklore and stuff like that, and excuse me, it's got a strong meaning behind it. It's got a good meaning behind it, and as I've said a million times before, excuse me, I like it when songs have a meaning. They actually have some story behind them, and this does it pretty well. The song carried on. Lempo shall sound high to the heels of the sky. Heart beats deep in the fire. The desires from the lady appear. Speaks the red flame, the fire of the sacred happiness. There's a boy on his knees at the gentle resting side. Again, this translation again might be slightly off. And then it goes back into that chorus. It actually repeats the chorus twice. It says, "Everything has gone good for me. The fiery lady from the fire. Behind my coppery light I shall cast a spell for my love. Come joy, Lempo's love, from the silver veil of fire. I give my joy for my lady. I cast my wishes from fire." And like I said, after a short musical interlude, it repeats that chorus again. It's quite an enjoyable track. Like I said, it's quite bouncy and a little bit up tempo, but it's not like an over jovial sort of party kind of song like you normally get from these sort of folk Viking metal bands, these pirate metal bands. It's not quite as bouncy as those, but there's still a certain upbeat feeling to the track, and I suppose in a way it makes sense because they're trying to make this god happy. They're trying to get blessings from this goddess, so it makes sense that it'll be more of a upbeat occasion rather than a sort of solemn sort of thing. And like I said, for Korpiklaani, the most stuff I know of theirs, I think I've only got about 1 or 2 albums of theirs. For the most part, most of their stuff is like really silly, very, very jovial, drinking alcohol type songs. And they're normally very, very upbeat, sort of like the party songs I was talking about before. So this is quite a difference. There's a little bit about it for some reason. I'm not sure what it was. A little bit about it kind of reminded me of Sentenced for some reason. I'm not sure why. But there's just a sort of feeling about it. It might have been the way he was singing. I'm not sure. But it was a good track. It was quite an enjoyable track, and it was a interesting change of tempo for what I'm familiar with of Korpiklaani. So yes, pretty decent track. And I like I said, I like the meaning behind it. The fact that it's got some sort of standing in reality and folklore and stuff like that. I like the fact that it's got that element to it. So yeah, the video itself was a little sort of, well, it was a bit strange. I mean, I've seen loads of lyric videos in the time of doing this, and even before doing this channel, but I've never seen one where they just show a series of photographs of the band members in the background. So it's a bit of an unusual video, but not terrible. So yes, I quite like that. It was an enjoyable track. Not bad. But I can't really think of much else to say on it, so I'm going to leave that as it is. If anybody would like to suggest a track for me to react to, then please do so by all means. You can drop a comment in the comment section below, or message me through my Facebook or my Instagram, or even through my Patreon, where you could help to support the channel as well, help to create future content, maybe even improve the quality of future content. That would be incredibly useful. Do know though, if you do make a suggestion, it might take me a while to get around to it, because I do get so many suggestions every single day that my list grows faster than I can record the videos. Now, I do write down every suggestion I get, but I get so many, it's going to take me a while to get around to it, but it will be done eventually. Also, Metalhead Reacts is a proud supporter of the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, a British-based charity whose main goal is to put an end to hate crimes, specifically those aimed towards those of the alternative culture. And it's something I believe in very, very strongly, something I'm very, very passionate about, because, everywhere all over the world, every single day, people are getting violently attacked just because of their taste in music. And it's one thing I'll never understand. All throughout my high school life, I was bullied, I was attacked, I was beaten up, just because I liked alternative music. In the entirety of my school, there was two people who liked heavy metal. There was me and my older brother. Um, and in a rather large school, we kind of stood out a bit. And even when I was at school, I didn't wear like a leather jacket to school. I just wore a sort of normal, everyday sort of coat jacket thing. But I still got attacked. I still got bullied because of my taste in music. Granted, I did have long hair, but that's not the point. And I just don't understand the reasoning behind it. Why would you attack someone because of their taste in music? It doesn't make sense. You don't attack someone because they like different TV shows or movies to you, do you? You don't attack someone because you like a different flavour of crisps to them, do you? So why would you attack someone because of their taste in music? It's not something to get annoyed about. It's not something to get angry about. It's not something worthy of attacking someone over. If you turned around to someone and said, I beat someone up, why? Because they like different music to me, you'd be called a bloody idiot, because that is just the most pathetic excuse, there's no excuse for violence in the first place, but to attack someone over something as petty as the fact that they like different music to you, it's unbelievable, Just because we like different music or dress differently doesn't make us a lesser being. Everyone has got an equal right to be on this planet. Everybody has the right to be an individual. There is absolutely no need to bring more violence into the world. We've got enough conflict going on in the world as it is. There's no need to bring more into it over something so stupid as music. We're not forcing you to listen to our music. We're not blasting it in your faces. More often than not, when I get on trains or buses or something, there's someone playing some really obnoxiously loud hip-hop or dance music on the bus rather than anybody sitting there playing heavy metal, So their music is getting forced onto us, but we're not forcing our music onto them, yet they're hating us for our music, and I don't get it. And the thing is, people are getting beaten, they're getting attacked, and they're getting severely hurt. Some people are getting hospitalised because they like alternative music, and it's gotten to the point where a young woman was beaten so severely that she died from her injuries. Sophie Lancaster and her boyfriend Robert Maltby were walking home, minding their own business, when they were set upon by a group of people who didn't even know them. They just set upon them and beat them so severely that Sophie Lancaster died. Just because of their taste in music. They don't care about who the person is. If they've taken the time to know them, they would have found out that they were some of the nicest people you could ever hope to meet. They would talk to anybody without judging them on the fact that they like different kind of music. They wouldn't judge them because they dressed a certain way. If they'd taken the time to talk to Sophie and Rob, they would have found out that they were some of the nicest people you could ever hope to meet. But they didn't care about that. All they cared about was the fact that they listened to alternative music, they dressed like goths, and that's all they needed. That's all they wanted. They just wanted to find an excuse to attack them. It was pathetic, it was cowardly, it's disgusting, and it shouldn't ever happen. And the thing is, it's not even the first time it's happened several times through the years, and it needs to stop. And this is exactly what the Sophie Lancaster Foundation is all about. They want to put an end to this. They want to stop it from ever happening again. They don't want to see another family go through what they went through when they had to watch their daughter slowly die over the course of 2 weeks. It can't be allowed to happen again. So if you want to find out more about the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, there is a link to their website in the description below. You can go over there, find out what they're working on and what their main goal is, because they can explain it better than I can. And if you can help them out in any way, even something as small as one of these Sophie wristbands, you can find them on their web store, or even if you just make a very small donation, even the smallest amount can make the biggest difference. And the sooner we bring more attention to this, the sooner we bring this into the light, the sooner we can stamp out prejudice, hatred, and intolerance everywhere. But I'm going to leave that as it is for the time being. Thank you all very, very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.